It's been just over 10 years since my first YouTube video, and here's my reaction video on it. Hey, what's going on? Atiba here, and it's been 10 years since I first started YouTube. I started YouTube in November 2014. How has it gone since then? Well, at the moment I have just under 400 subscribers, which in the grand scheme of things is a lot. If you put that many people in a room, that would be a lot, but in YouTube money it's not great. I've got more subscribers, well no, more followers on Instagram. But what have I learned since then? Well, within those 10 years my quality of videos have gone up, but obviously lacking the consistency. And then I started doing a bit of short form content on Instagram, and obviously bits on YouTube. I wanted to make a channel on cycling and tech, so I was inspired by videos from content creators like MKBHD and Android Authority.
I have to say this. He actually looks like a younger MKBHD, honestly. but which he laughed at when we met.
Let's see how bad this video is aged. So this is the GoPro Hero. So this is the 2014 version of the GoPro, and this basically sits at the entry level. At the time it was £100. In terms of quality, it's pretty good. But we'll talk more about this camera shortly. But first, let's watch my first video.
Hi there, Atiba here, and I'm going to do an unboxing of the GoPro Hero.
What can I say about this? So, framing is not too bad. One thing I did since I made my first YouTube video, or since I started making videos, was to get a DSLR. And one thing I needed out of a DSLR was a screen or a monitor that could rotate, so it meant you could frame your shot. And considering I was actually using this, which is a Galaxy S3 from 2012, which is not in use obviously, and very old, the framing is not too bad, where you can't really actually see what you're shooting. So one rule when it comes to shooting with your phone is that you want to use the rear camera instead of the front camera. Pros to that is that you've got a better quality shot, but in terms of framing, you can't actually see what you film. There are ways around it, so you could get yourself a little monitor to make things easier, but at the time I don't think I had the money for that. I probably might have, but yeah, at the time I did not have the money for that. So I just used the phone on its own and then just framed everything and just kind of prayed to God it worked, and it seemed to work pretty well. There's a lot of mess, and I think I could have probably tidied up that area a bit more, but framing seems to be good. I think I should have turned off my computer because that computer is noisy and it disturbs the audio, and the audio is pretty bad. It might have been the way I exported the document, but pretty bad. But in terms of the framing and actually the introduction, it was actually not too bad. Probably the only other thing I'd say is the watermark is not great. I think for a few videos I've tried to do the watermark for a bit, and then I just decided to just ditch it because it did not look that great. But those are my criticisms for just the first bit. So, the title, as you can see I'm using the same blue that I use in my current videos. I don't know why I did the logo placement how I did, because it doesn't look great. Probably would have looked better if I centered it, although it still probably looked like a PowerPoint presentation, but it would probably look a lot better than how it is now. Maybe if I was to do it a little bit more like... yeah, it probably would have been better like that, but that would have probably taken... I think it was actually my second video I changed the titles up a little bit, and then I'm not sure which video it was, got to the titles that we kind of have now.
The GoPro Hero is an entry-level action camera. The reason why they decided to make a camera like this was to fill in the gap in their market.
This was probably the first time I started scripting, tried to remember my lines. I'm still terrible now. I think, is it a few years ago? Well, yeah, a couple of years ago I made myself a homemade auto cue, which made things a little bit more easier. At the moment, I'm not using auto cue, I'm just kind of free flowing. But in the beginning, and I still find it hard now, I just try to remember what I wrote down, scripted everything out, try to remember what I wrote down, and then try to recite it. Which, as you could see, I didn't do that. And also, because I didn't really want to mess it up, I tried to film everything and then voice over. Which the problem with that is that it can work, but you just need to get your shots right. And I didn't have everything in frame perfectly. I think at the time, I was just literally holding the phone and just showing everything like so. Audio is so terrible. I think I actually used the GoPro for the audio, but I don't know how I exported it. I exported it probably in the worst way possible. I don't even know what I was using. Was I using Premiere Pro? Maybe I was, but I probably exported it terribly. There are some other things that are pretty bad in terms of like the framing. The camera's at a jointy angle and there is a lot of mess. I still don't like the watermark, but you know, that was what I tried to do at the time. I think loads of YouTubers at the time had their own watermark and I was inspired by them.
The camera costs £100 or $129 depending on where you are. So the sacrifices you get with this camera, that you don't get 4K, which is found in the GoPro Hero 4.
Yeah, framing is still not really great, but everyone has to start somewhere. At the time, I was working in a bike shop where I got a little discount for it. Doesn't really mean much, but got a little discount, which helped. Obviously, it was not a sponsored video, and I don't think many of my actually no, none of my videos are sponsored. So yeah, let's keep watching the video.
Or Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, which allows connectivity to your mobile phone or tablet. Inside, you get a get started manual, a quick start guide.
It just went silent, but obviously, because of the way I made videos and I found it quite hard to recite my lines, then I would have that sudden stop. But also because of the quality of the audio, it doesn't sound, what's the word? Coherent. So yeah, you got random bits of stopping, but I also stopped it at the random bit of stopping. And framing is still not good. I think I'm gonna just keep saying framing is still not good.
You can go for stickers, maybe for your bike or skateboard if you're into that.
Still the silence.
Important safety and information guide. So this is the GoPro. It's pretty compact and weighs about 111 grams, which isn't that heavy.
Still, a lot of silence.
One thing that you've got to know is the computer's integrated with the housing. So there's no removable battery and some accessories won't work with this device. You also get a curved and flat adhesive mount, a skeleton back door, and a mini USB to USB cable for data transfer and charging. However, it doesn't come with a USB to mains plug. So that was unboxing of the GoPro Hero. One thing that you've got to know, this doesn't actually have internal storage, so you actually need your own.
What is going on with my head? I'm just like that. Why am I like that? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. A lot of jump cuts. Same reason as I mentioned before.
Micro SD card. So over class 10, class 4, up to 32 gig. I don't actually have a micro SD card for this device right now, but it's coming in the post, so within the next coming weeks you'll be able to see some footage. If you actually like this video, place a little like below. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe.
See you later. So that was my unboxing of the GoPro Hero, which it wasn't the best. It had potential, and I've gotten to where I am because of it. And everyone has to start somewhere. Obviously, as I mentioned, there's so many things I could have improved at the time, but you know, it is what it is, and we are here technically because of it. So how has the GoPro been since I have bought it? Well, I don't think I've used it as much. Quality is alright. So as mentioned in the video, it films at a max resolution of 1080p at 30 frames a second, or 720p at 60 frames a second. So if you wanted some more slow-mo shots, then you've got that option. Video is alright. The quality is not terrible. It's not going to be DSLR quality, but it's going to be good enough. So if you wanted your action shots, then it's going to be great for that. Low light is it's nothing special. Again, it's not a DSLR. It's not any of the modern action cameras where you've got a wide aperture. Although at the time it was 2014, so you had, I think, the Hero 10, it might be the Hero 7. I will put the correction up here, where it actually filmed in 4K. My opinions on 4K are that you've got more coverage, so if you do downsize it to 1080p, for example, you've got a lot to play with. So if you wanted to zoom in, you could do that. But it does require having a ton of storage and potentially a more powerful PC. In my opinion, 1080p is good enough in terms of quality, but obviously more and more videos these days are filmed in 4K or even 8K, but the main benefits are that you can crop footage, and you've got a lot to play with because you've got more resolution if you downsize it to 1080p. Obviously if you're putting it on a big screen, then you've got that benefit. Cons to it, as I mentioned, to framing, similar to a phone if you're filming yourself, so vlog style, that because you can't see anything, it's just guesswork. You can't actually connect your phone up to the GoPro, so it means if you wanted to use something as a second screen, you can't do that. So if you were to vlog, do vlog style with the camera, it would be guesswork basically, which sometimes it can turn out well, but to make a good video, you want to have framing. You want to have good framing. If you can't actually see what you're filming, then it is just basically guesswork, and it could be very good or very bad, which means that if it's terrible, you've kind of wasted a shot. 4K isn't a big deal for me. Maybe better low light quality, but like bear in mind, it was a budget camera that's 10 years old. So what do you expect? What are my plans for my channel in, let's say, the next year? Well, ideally I want to make more videos, more content. I have been doing that a little bit, so you've probably seen my other videos. I want to try and make more quality content. I'm going to focus on quality first, as I mentioned before in the past, and then try and up the consistency a little bit. So hopefully you'll see more of that from me. Would I recommend someone buy one of these secondhand? No. There are so many options out there, and you don't necessarily need to get a GoPro. I think if you do want an action camera and you do want to vlog, the main thing I'd probably recommend is something that you can connect to your phone. I forgot the other con. So another con is that you don't have a second screen and you can't connect external mics. So if you're looking for an action camera for vlogging, I'd have something with the ability to connect up an external mic and a second screen. Either connect up to the second screen, that's rotatable, so you can do your framing if you're doing your vlogging shots, or something that you could connect to an external screen, so either connection to your phone and obviously an external mic. So if you are filming outside, you've got something that is better quality, or if you've got a lav mic, you've got that option. So that was my video on 10 years on YouTube. So if you liked the video, give me a like below. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.